Today I see a client of mine who has been coming to me for a few years. Her toenails are pretty easy, but she does have this new ridge at the base of her great toenail right here. So stay tuned, you'll see what I do to smooth that out, and all of the tools and techniques that I use for all of my pretty easy pedicure clients. This one was not super challenging, but I did have a good time talking with her. So the first thing I usually do is go through and push back all of the cuticle, well, the proximal nail fold by the cuticle with the cuticle pusher. And this is just to free up the skin around the nail so that I can go back then with the efile and gently exfoliate all the cuticle that is stuck on the nail plate itself, which is what I'm doing right here. I'm going in the forward direction, and even though it looks like I'm swiping back and forth on the nail plate, I'm really lifting the bit off of the nail when I get to the left side, and then I apply it to the nail in a right to left direction. And then I'll go back in later and change directions and do a little bit on the other side of the nails as well. I usually have my diamond fine grit file. This is the tapered barrel bit, and I run it at about 15,000 RPMs. I love this bit because you can easily lay it flat over top of the nail surface and buff off the whole plate if you wanted to, because it is such a fine grit. So if you have any ridging or abnormalities or just a heavy cuticle, this bit's the best one to use in my opinion. I just love it. This is probably my favorite part of all the pedicure process because it is so satisfying to get that nail plate so clean and smooth. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but this is this is my dream. I love whenever people have lots of cuticle so I can remove it with the efile. A shout out to Erica's ATA. I took her class in May of last year, and she changed my world with this efile stuff. I'd never used an efile before that, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I have been missing this my whole life. It is amazing. If you have not taken an Erica's ATA class, it's totally worth it, and you'll learn some good skills with her, and once you apply them, it's a game changer. So now, as you can see, I changed the direction of my bit. I'm now going in a reverse direction, and I was sweeping from the left to the right to get the right groove and clean off the right side of the nail plate. So the next step is for me to trim the nails and shape them. And what I normally do is I go in and I clip the angle, the corners of the nails to just where I want to file them to. So I don't go below where I know I'm going to be filing the top free edge of the nail, if that makes sense. So with this right now, I'm actually here's what I normally do. I go snip on one side, snip on the other side, and I go to the depth where I think I'm going to be filing the free edge. So you'll see when I come back and file, I level out the free edge there and make it nice and straight across. So I use a peel and stick file system. I know a lot of people use the stainless steel files, and I do like those if you have the right grit for the nail. Sometimes nails are a little bit too thin, sometimes they're a little bit too thick, and so you kind of have to play around and know which grit the stainless steel file needs to be in order to really do the best work. So I find the peel and stick work best for me because I don't have to really guess at all. I have a 180 grit on one side and a 240 grit on the other. And as you can see, I go up straight up and down on the side walls, and then I smooth the free edge straight across so that it's a nice straight line with slightly rounded, not sharp corners, but not a rounded nail. And when you do file, it's important that you file straight across so that it's not what my friend calls a Gumby nail, where there's one high side and one low side, like Gumby's head. So double check your work when you go through, and make sure that when you're looking down at the toes, the nails aren't angled in a weird direction. And if you want, you can ask your client too, hey, does that look right to you? And sometimes from their vantage point, it'll look like one side is higher than the other, and so you can adjust the filing at that point so that it looks good to them. After I'm done shaping, I take a natural nail buffer and I smooth out the top of the nail plate so that there's no ridging. I make sure that the peeling is, if there's any peeling, I smooth that out so that it's one solid plate. Any nail that has any peeling on it isn't going to hold polish very well. So you want to make sure, if you can, if the nail isn't already super thin, to smooth it out and get one solid nail plate. This client has great thick nails, so I can kind of be a little bit more aggressive with her. Sometimes if you have thinner, older nail, well, I guess anybody with thinner nails is going to be, you're going to buff less because you don't want to take too much thickness out. So even after all that work on the big toe, I can still see that little ridge there. So I'm going to take the efile with a smaller, more skinnier bit and file it down across the top to make it nice and smooth so that the polish will lay flat and it'll grow in nicely. She didn't have an ingrown toenail on this side, but she did have some impacted skin, which you can see me trying to grab right here and clear out. Other than that, the nail groove was smooth. There wasn't any spicule caught deep in there. I love using the sidewall cleaner to get all of that deep debris out. It really has made a huge difference in my practice with getting the impacted nails or involuted nails cleaned out. Before I knew about those tools, I was trying to use like a small dot tool to scoop away debris and an orange wood stick, and it was a mess. So as soon as I found this tool, I was like, hallelujah. Oh my gosh, my job just got way easier. I bought mine on Amazon. There is a set for about $10. It's stainless steel. I've been using it for the past probably 3 years now. It comes with a sidewall cleaner that's dual-sided and a rasp as well. For some reason, this cuticle on this left side here was giving me some issues, and I probably should have pulled out my efile and just gone to town on that area, but I just thought if I just keep scraping, it'll come off, and eventually it did. But I think to make it a little bit faster, a quick swipe with a skinnier detailed bit would have been easy, and then go back to get this piece of skin that was hanging out on the side. Thanks for joining me on my very first Watch Me Work YouTube video. I hope you learned something, and if you have questions, please put them in the comments. Thanks so much.